Hello and welcome back to my channel, and thanks for joining me again for session 2 of my basic fantasy role-playing game solo campaign. It's a bit of a mouthful, that one. I'm probably going to have to think of a bit of a summary for it. But basic fantasy is here for its second session. In our last session, we were involved in the creation of the game world, the setting, where I set out a rather grim and foreboding setting based on a dark fantasy theme and a genre. This would involve cosmic horror, Lovecraftian influences, gothic horror, and with melded into a fantasy role-playing environment. So we're going to have all the monsters, all the creatures of basic fantasy, but distorted and twisted by the gothic horror that lurks in this world. And at the end of the last session, we had created this setting checklist with the parameters. I think about 9 parameters fully randomly selected and completed. It was quite an interesting mix of factors and parameters, and some of them were in sympathy, a few in opposition. But one of the things I can do in this setting is basically try to meld these things together into a logical and consistent narrative, and use these parameters, these ground rules for the world design to inform any decisions I make further down the line about the characters, the adventures that they're going to pursue, and really just how this world ticks over in terms of rumors, events, any other thematic changes to the environment. And what I've done is I've created a completed version with filling in basically longhand some of these checklist points, and I'm just going to run through this briefly, and then I'm going to follow it up with what I've tried to extract from this into a kind of long form narrative, almost like it would be set down in a tome, explaining what this world is like. And I've decided to christen it the Dark Realm. That's the name of this world area. Unspecified as to the geography, unspecified as to the extent of the Dark Realm. It's merely just think of it maybe as a bit of a subcontinent, or a large area of land, maybe slightly bordered on by either deserts or expanses of ocean. But this is the only place that the characters know of as the probably the crucible of civilization in this world. However, we will find that the dominant civilization is now in ruins. It is basically crumbling away. So this is represented by a decaying nobility in crumbling castles, clinging to lost grandeur. So this is quite a sight this conjures up, of basically a decadent and well past its sell-by date nobility in these ruined, basically decaying castles, and striving to maintain their relevance, striving to maintain their previous kind of ancient regime grandeur, but it has been lost. And who are they fooling? Whether we can see whether they are still have an awe over the populace, or are they going to be, there's the seeds of rebellion, seeds of revolution stirring. And then we also have an ancient threat or legacy, which taints this ruling class. The legacy of the Witch Kings, whose curses seep into bloodlines and soil. So no doubt it has seeped into this nobility, and maybe this is one of the reasons why it has decayed. It's almost imploded by itself. Let us find out as we explore the Dark Realm. And then the religious and magical aspects, we determined that pacts with spirits or demons, where magic is bought with blood, silence, or service. And this sounds rather grim. So maybe there are some dark undertones to do with, maybe people call these things spirits or demons, but maybe these are these creatures from other planes, or maybe distortions caused by the cosmic interlopers that move into this world. Let us find out again. So these are all kind of adventure hooks, adventure points that we can use to spark our imagination. And then the conflict driver, we determined that there was an extensive inquisition in this game world, with zealots rooting out heresy and witchcraft. It sounded very grim indeed. You can really kind of conjure up an image of an enraged peasantry being aroused by priests who have decried a heretic in the midst of their congregation, and are on the chase round the village to basically herd them up and try them in some form of expedient court, and then execute them through some terrible either burning at the stake or hanging, or something even more grim. So it's not a very pleasant environment, and the state of the land on a geographical and environmental level, we have marshes spreading, drowning fields and homes. So basically the environment is collapsing as well. It is becoming maybe susceptible to some form of global catastrophe or global warming. Who knows what is causing this? Is it some cosmic curse, or black magic or sorcery? Maybe that is affecting the infrastructure and the environment. And the sources of fear, as if we need any more of this apart from this foreboding environment. We have the Inquisitor's torches. So I think I was going to roll to see the intensity of the Inquisition, but I don't think I really need to do that now. I think it's self-evident that this Inquisition is really quite fundamental and extensive, and by the fact that this is the major source of fear for the populace, probably in the towns and out in the villages. The Inquisitor's torches, the Inquisition is feared across the land. This seems to be enough evidence to say that the Inquisition is of a significant level. And the strange customs that we have in this game world, we have these birth tattoos of warding runes. So when children are born into this world, they are immediately given some form of a branding of a tattoo, and making their mark. How this is actually applied, and what the logic is behind it, again we can find out as we explore the game world, and see whether it is just superstition or it has some basis in the warped physics and environmental rules of the Dark Realm. And then troublesome outsiders, and we have scholars with forbidden books. And so there must be some form of intellectual backlash, or maybe these scholars are specific cultists, or they represent some form of aberration in the intellectual mainstream, and they are using forbidden books, maybe something to do with the Witch Kings, or something from the past, and these books have been banished. Maybe they have some form of scientific revelation, the fact that the world is round, or something, something of that level, that would be basically treated as heresy. So these maybe are specific, not just scholars in general, but maybe these specific scholars who are viewed as troublesome outsiders and might be punished. Wonders and relics of this world, apart from the just everything in it so far. We do have a standing stone that bleeds each year, so that might be something quite interesting to go and visit and see exactly what is the story behind that. Everyday hardships of the populace, or endless ties to lords or priests. So this nobility must be still having a bit of a hold on the populace, and also the priests, maybe the inquisitors. There is maybe a strong infrastructure of the church in this world, and they in tandem, the lords and the priests are demanding extensive taxes and tithes to satisfy whatever their desires are. Maybe to fund the decaying nobility's decadent lifestyle, and also to fund I suppose the expensive mechanism of executing an inquisition in this world. And then the adventuring hooks that we ascertained that would be a reason why we would have adventurers in this game world. Well, it looks as though we have they are viewed more as outcasts and wanderers with no home but the road, and they are drawn to danger. So maybe a low view of adventurers, which might taint the way that the adventurers are greeted when we come to the Grimghast Dominion, which is the regional area I'm going to design specifically. So we did all that groundwork in the last episode. What I did was I wrote up a kind of resume of it in rather kind of gothic tone, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to read that to you now, so that you get just a general appreciation, almost from a lawmaster or someone of maybe one of these scholars that has been shunned, and this is something that they're setting down in their forbidden books. That could be something to think about. This will be, as I say, a resume of the checklist points. So, the Dark Realm is a land of ruin and remembrance, where shattered citadels and mouldering castles cling to the hills like dying beasts. Its nobility, pale and desperate, presides over halls of dust and silence, clutching at lineages that crumble as surely as the stones beneath their feet. An older power still coils in the earth, the witch kings of forgotten ages, whose curses have seeped into the very marrow of the land. Crops rot in their furrows. Children are born marked with strange runes, and the marshes spread year upon year to devour the fields and villages that dare defy them. What passes for faith has soured into fanaticism. The Inquisition stalks this world, torches in hand, eager to drag the guilty and innocent alike to pyres that light the night with shrieking flames. And yet, behind shuttered doors, whispers of darker pacts persist. There are those who still bargain with unseen powers, spirits of the mire, shadows in the barrows, or something older, nameless, watching from beyond. Superstition rules as much as steel. Infants are tattooed with warding marks at birth, their tiny flesh scarred in desperate hope. Villagers leave charms on doors, bleed animals into the soil, or bury secrets in their hearths. Outsiders, scholars bearing forbidden tomes, wanderers marked by dreams, are feared most of all, for their presence stirs the realm's slumbering nightmares. There are wonders here, though they are never free of horror. A standing stone that weeps blood each year draws pilgrims who kneel in awe, though none dare touch its crimson flow. And so this realm endures, a land of endless ties, hunger, and despair, where the common folk bow under burdens too great to bear. Only the dispossessed, wanderers, outcasts, and broken souls walk freely, drawn into crypts, barrows, and desolate ruins, where the true face of this world waits in the dark. Well, that conjures up a rather nightmarish picture of what the Dark Realm is all about. And the next step of our exercise is to zoom in on what I've called the Grimghast Dominion, and find out just in a bit more detail what exactly that place is like. And I do have another checklist that we are going to complete. The regional setting design checklist, I have called it. So to create the starting region, guided by the parameters of the setting checklist results, which I've just gone through, we can use this additional checklist to define specific details about what it is like. In defining the region, we're going to make a choice of the desired option for each point, and then roll 1d6 with a 5 to 6, also confirming that choice. Note, only use if felt necessary. So what this means is that there are d4 options for each of these checklist points, but if I decide that I want to go for a specific one in priority, and that I view that as being the desired option, I can use the discretionary d6 rule and apply that if I get the roll with my d6 or a 5 or a 6, I get that selection and I will take it. And it basically weights it to something that is more in line with what my expectation of this setting should be. However, we still have the fate of the dice hanging over this setting too, and we could very well have results which are scupper any pre-planning or game idea that I have in advance. So that's all part of the excitement of the solo role-playing experience, and we're going to experience that now. So let me just move the basic fantasy rulebook to the side. I do have this checklist here, and I'm going to get my little backing sheet that I like to use to save my nice yellow background. That's what I'm using for the basic fantasy. This is on yellow. I do have a different color, a different livery for each of my campaigns. I've decided to go for the yellow one. I thought it had something to do with this outside yellow thing. It is a bit difficult sometimes to explain my logic and some of my choices for aesthetic. But certainly something say like the Holmes basic D&D campaign, it's pretty obvious I was going to use a blue background. For the BX one, I've gone for a red background, and that's on the basis that this basic book is red. So it's as simple as that. It's nothing really scientific about it. So I've just decided to go for yellow on this. I think it looks quite good. Right, so what we're going to do first is we're going to look at the central seat of power. So the question is, what anchors the Dominion's authority? There will be a rival power center if the desired choice is not achieved. Okay, so I have as a choice, I have a looming citadel of black stone, a ruined castle, half inhabited, half haunted, a fortified monastery, a noble's manor built on top of ancient barrows. Right, well, I do know that I have this decaying ability, and I really want to have a kind of a decaying lord of the Grimghast Dominion, and his family are all rather eccentric, and they're all probably cursed in some sort of way. by individual maladies and mental illness and all sorts of demonic possession. So I think as a priority, I'd probably want to go for either one, a looming citadel of black stone, or as a backstop, a ruined castle, half inhabited, half haunted. You know, that could be quite interesting to nest them. Maybe not a fortified monastery, because I'm not really thinking of this person as a cleric. But I do like the idea of a monastery that has maybe the basis of the authority in it. And if we don't get our choice, maybe that fortified monastery might come up. And a noble's manor built on top of ancient barrows, well, that could be of interest. A bit like kind of Teagle Manor type thing. If you cast your minds back to one of the Judges Guild D&D scenarios that had a manor house built on top of ruins. It wasn't really ancient barrows, but it was ruins. So I would say I like 1 first as my choice. So I get my d6 ready, and we will get 1. We will get a 1 if I get a 1 on my d6, or a 5 or a 6. So there's a good chance that I get what I want. So let's find out if I get what I want. And we get a 2. So a ruined castle, half inhabited, half haunted. Well, that was my second choice. I am not too bothered about that. So we've got a ruined, option 2, a ruined castle. So you can imagine this shambolic, and this I suppose fits in with thematic ideas that we brought out in the overall checklist of these decaying castles that these individuals live in. So this is really, I suppose, basically channeling this theme too. So I quite like this half inhabited, half habited, inhabited, and half haunted. And what I'm going to do is when I was thinking about this, I'd quite like to maybe just, because the Inquisition is so powerful, I'm going to ask the question to like an oracle, and I'm going to say, is there going to be a clerical representation of this Inquisition in the Grimghast Dominion of equivalent power, or even surpassing the power of the ruined castle? So I'm going to say, if I get a positive, which is going to be a 4 to 6, that is the case. Otherwise, no. So let's find out what the story is. So definitely no. So it is still, so there's not going to be maybe a direct representation of the Inquisition in this area. So that maybe that is quite a good thing. For the fact that characters will not be plagued by a direct representative of the Inquisition in this area. That's not to say that individuals from the Inquisition are not going to be visiting on a regular basis, terrorizing the area through lots of other methods. So let's move on to our next criteria, and this is the town of the Dominion and what defines the main town. Is it going to be a crowded markets under the watch of mercenaries, a riverside port choked by fog and superstition, a half-burned, still scarred by war settlement, or known for its secret guilds and clandestine trade? And you will recall that one of the criteria that I was going to have in the Grimghast Dominion was I was going to have a central seat of power, a citadel. I was going to have a town, a small town. I was going to have 3 villages. I was going to have a tower, a keep, and a manor house. And thereafter, I can just call out each of the ones afterwards in order. But that was, in terms of settlements, that was the structure. So the main town is the second. And in fact, I've just noticed that I put my ruined castle in the wrong box. So I'll put that here. You'll understand. Right, the main town, what is it going to be? Well, we're just going to use a d4 for that and just find out. And I have no real preference at all. It could be a crowded market under the watch of mercenaries, etc., etc. Let's find out. We'll just put it to the dice roll. So it's a crowded market under the watch of mercenaries. Okay, so that's one. So market, town, mercenaries. So these mercenaries, these could be a powerful force in the Grimghast Dominion. They could be other players in the political machinations of this area. And also maybe a source of recruitment and of interest for our adventurers too. So maybe the main town is, it's got potential for adventuring, it's got potential for finding our equipment and finding potentially a reasonably, in comparison to some of the areas that we're going to be visiting, a safe area for us to start our adventuring. Let us move on to our next phase, which is villages, and we roll 1d4 for each of these, and we repeat. So what is the character of the village? And I have 4 options, so we're going to have a different one for each. So let's find out what we get for our first village, village 1. And village 1 is 4, and it has ruined foundations built on top of ruins of ancient settlement. Okay, so that is village 1. It's got ruined foundations. So you can almost imagine this this village, this ramshackle village, dilapidated, maybe in the middle of some forest or on the marshes, and it is built on top of this more ancient settlement, which begs the question as what is that all about? So that sounds like a prime adventure site. That's a good start. So let's roll for our next village and find out what that one is. And we get a 3. So, surrounded by oppressive forest, known for silent, fearful folk. Right. So why are they silent? Why are they fearful? We will find out. So surrounded by forest. Every option that I do in this game, that I do on my tier list, will have it'll make the hairs on the back of your neck stand up. This is not a pleasant place. You don't want to really be coming here on your holidays. Yeah, it's not going to be. The tour guide would be sacked, I think, if he suggested that you come here. So let's find out where our last. And we do have a choice. We're either going to do. We'll do 1 to 3 is going to be option 1, and 3 to 4 to 6 is option 2. So we're going to have option 1, built on stilts over marshland. So that is fine. And the marshland is going to be a dominant feature of the Grimghast Dominion over marshland. And the only one that we didn't do was huddled against ancient standing stones. But there's probably going to be lots of standing stones all over the place in this dominion, no doubt. Right, so that's us done our villages. Now we're going to do what we call our tower, keep, and manor house. And we roll for each. So what are the isolated towers or manor houses for? So we've got a wizard's watchtower, long abandoned. We've got a border beacon against raiders. We've got a noble's retreat, now cursed, or a prison for dangerous heretics. Well, this could be our little centre of the Inquisition, right on our doorstep. So what is our tower going to be? And we'll roll a d4. The tower. We get a 3 for that. So our tower is a noble's retreat, now cursed. So it's a noble's retreat. Cursed. Is it still occupied by the noble? Has it been cursed? Has he fled? We will find out. I'm not going to answer these questions now. This is all going to be part of our adventuring. And already we've really got quite a lot of tantalizing little hooks not only from our first playthrough of the World of the Dark Realm checklist, but definitely in this regional setting checklist. And what we're going to have for our keep, we'll roll a d4 for that. And if I get like a tower or whatever, I'll just modify it to whatever I need. So we've got a 4 for that. And the 4 option is, oh, here we go. Yes, the keep, the prison for dangerous heretics. So we do have the Inquisition making its appearance. Prison for heretics. I hope our characters will not end up there. Prison for heretics. No doubt. No doubt they will probably raise the ire of the local Inquisitor. You know, what grim individual is that going to be like? Maybe like an evil abbess or something, or a corrupt bishop. Yes, let us find out. Right, and finally we've got the manor house, and with the one we haven't had is a wizard's watchtower and a border beacon against raiders. Well, I would say, yeah, it's unlikely to be a border beacon. So maybe I could do the manor. I could convert the manor house into, maybe it might have a tower as well. So let's just roll a 1 to 3. It is the wizards. We'll say let's 1 to 4 the wizard's watchtower, because that sounds a bit more plausible. A border beacon. I think we've had our chance really with the tower and the keep. So yes, it is. It's a wizard's watchtower, long abandoned. So that's 1. So we could say it's a wizard's domain. He's got his tower with the manor house, and it's abandoned. So that sounds like a little adventure site already. A bit of a Teagle Manor job. Let's move on to our next criteria, which is haunted or cursed sites. So what does this mean? I will tell you. We're going to roll 2 to 3. And it says, which shadow lies over the land? Okay, so we're going to have 2 to 3 haunted or cursed sites that I'm going to place in this dominion. We're going to have 2 to 3, so I would say 1 to 3 we're going to have 2, and 4 to 6 we are going to have 3. So we're going for the jackpot. We're going to have 3. Let's find out. And I've deliberately made this space a bit bigger so that we can accommodate it. So we're going to have a 2 first. A ruined temple with bloodstains that never fade. Yes, you always need a ruined temple in any campaign. You know, what is better? I'm already adventuring in a ruined temple in my AD&D campaign, and we're having a bit of a laugh there. Well, obviously laugh is maybe not the right term. We're getting it's being entertaining. Certainly for myself, I'm really enjoying playing in that. And an AD&D adventure coming soon, just probably in the midst of all these basic fantasy ones. Let's find out what else we've got that I can place in this dominion. We've got a 3 again, so we're not going to have another. Oh, you know, that is different because it was a 2. A 3 is a gallows hill where the hanged whisper. Okay. So a gallows hill and the hanged whisper. So maybe there is some form of undead near, or maybe this was a hill that was used as gallows, and it is now being cursed, or there are haunted spirits there. That is. I keep on saying, let us find out. I just don't know the answer to that just now. We are going to explore the possibility I have just alluded to. And our final one, we're not going to get another gallows hill. They're not going to be popping up all over the place. Let's just, in fact, we've only got 2 options left. It's going to be either 1 or 4. So 1 to 3, it is. It is number 1. It's a barrow field where ghost fires burn bright. Fantastic. So a barrow field. Haunted or cursed site, casting a shadow over the land. Right. So we didn't have a sunken village, its bells still tolling under the water. But who's to say we don't get one of them later on, because that sounds quite exciting to explore. Let us ask the question of what are the woods and the wilds like? And the question that is being answered is, what character do the woods have? And I don't have any strong preferences for that, so I'm just going to do a D4. And we've got a choice of a mist-choked and trackless, haunted by wolves' red eyes, sacred groves where no axe may fall, tended by hedge priests or witches. So we've got sacred groves where no axe may fall. So potentially, whenever we find a woodland, there will be a sacred grove. Potentially, no axe, no development, say. So the existence of sacred groves in this dominion, apart from just the general forest, but there seems to be maybe there's going to be some druidic element or old religion to do with the sacred groves, or is this potentially something to do with our elves? Yeah, that could be a possibility. And there will be all the demi-humans are in this game world. Everything that's in basic fantasy will be in this setting. It's just that I will be modifying them to, I suppose, the overall semantics of this game world. The next question on our checklist is hills and ruins, and what lies within or beneath the hills? Oh my goodness, more monsters, more mystery. Again, I do not have any real preference. Caverns that connect to the underworld, my goodness. Old fortifications from a forgotten age, well, that sounds plausible. Burial mounds that split open in storms, my goodness, yeah. There are probably lots of storms in this region. It's always going to be thunder and lightning, that kind of that style, heavy rain. A labyrinth of stone menhirs. Now, menhirs are the tall obelisk type stones, and so there are some sort of labyrinth maybe underneath, my goodness. What's it going to be? What lies within or beneath the hills? And we do have the labyrinth of stone menhirs. So there are, within the hills, there is to be found a labyrinth of standing stones. Probably some sort of complex that has been built, maybe in the old days, maybe the time of the Witch Kings. Yes, that sounds plausible. Right, we're moving on. We've got, actually I've gone into the wrong one here. I've got woods and wilds, hills and ruins. Oh, I haven't got my hills and ruins on. Right, I've missed that one out. Yes, I should have hills and ruins in there, so apologies. I have just noticed on my checklist I do not have everything. So I've got, so that is hills and ruins there. I've got hills and ruins. Ruins. Roads and travel we're on to. How do people move through the Dominion? Is it going to be broken, cobbled roads of the old empire? Is it going to be muddy tracks, treacherous in the rain? Is it going to be a single causeway across the marshes, or a secret pass known only to smugglers? Right. What on earth are we going to be? What are we going to be using to get from A to B? And hopefully from B back. So it's going to be broken cobbled roads of the old empire. So that gives us a bit of a hint that there has been an old empire. Maybe this is the Witch King Empire. So we've got cobbled roads. So at least maybe the road system is a bit more extensive than we would have thought. And that might help us get around and a bit more interconnectivity of the villages of the town. And the fact that we've got this crowded town, you know, that could explain the fact that it's maybe got a bit more commercial vitality, even though this is quite a blighted world. There's still going to be little havens of human activity. Wherever there are humans, there's always going to be some form of hope, some form of commerce, some form of almost like proto-capitalism going on. Right, what are we up to now? The marsh and the fenland. What is the nature of the encroaching marshes? Have we got open wetlands? Have we got reed fens? Have we got peat bogs? Or have we got misty marshes? So this could be quite important to find out what is the nature of our fenland. And we've got 4, which are misty marsh, a labyrinth of pools, mud and low brush, perpetually cloaked in drifting mist. Oh my goodness, this sounds very, very sinister, very misty. Yeah, misty marsh. Yeah, this is quite a litany of atmospheric points and whatever. Hopefully, it's building up in your mind's eye. You know, quite a ghastly area. You know, the Grimghast is well named. That's certainly that sums it up. Local superstition. Now, I've got a bit of a different tact on this one. In fact, I'm just gonna have to get my D10 for this. Yeah, get my D10 out for this. Oh no, it's a D8. So, oh, yes, it isn't. It's a D8. You can see that I've forgotten what my system was for my numbering for this. It's a D8 I use for this. And what must locals never do with these superstitions? And I will roll a D8, and I will roll a second one if I get a 75% as a percentage. A 50% I will roll a third, and a 25% I will roll a fourth. And I have to keep on making consecutive rolls after each. So what we're going to have first with our D8, we are going to have 1, which is never name the dead at night. To speak their name draws their shade back to the living. Oh my goodness. So make sure you don't name the dead. Never name dead at night. Definitely not. So this is a superstition that we're going to really have to get au fait with pretty quickly. And a 75% chance. I'll just get my percentage. Get my percentage dice for this. So a 75% chance we're going to roll another one. We get a 11, sorry. Yeah, that's 11. So we do. So let's roll our D8 again. Find out what our second superstition is. We've got 8 this time. A candle that gutters thrice means someone in the house will not see dawn. Oh my goodness. It's all about death and doom. The candle. So for goodness sake, don't say someone's name of the dead at night. And if your candle is guttering, you're really going to have to be on guard that you don't expire. So what are we going to do next? We're going to say a 50% chance we get another one of these awful superstitions. Yeah, no, we don't. We get a 70, so we've only got 2. But we could have had all sorts of things. We could have had iron nails ward spirits. Do not whistle indoors. Moss on a gravestone. The first crow of spring. Bread must be broken, not cut. Never cross running water after sunset. And I've got a little reasons why these are the case. But luckily, we do not have all these. We've just got never name the dead at night and a candle that gutters thrice. For goodness sake, you know, red alert. Watch out. So, rulers and factions, we're going to roll 3 times and place in appropriate locations. Now, this is slightly different. I have got 1, a paranoid nobleman with shifting loyalties. 2, a mercenary captain who rules by coin. 3, an abbess wielding both faith and fear. 4, a council of guilds, cutthroat and divided. Yes, That sounds as though that should be in the town. Let us roll our d4 and find out where all these things are. And we're only going to have 3 of them. So we're going to have our first one, which is 3. Oh, it's the Abyss. We've got the Abyss wielding both faith and fear. And I would say the Abyss is going to probably be in one of these ones. Maybe the Prison for the Heretics. Yeah, that sounds okay. So maybe it's not set in stone, but that's a likely connection, that she's going to be based in that keep, the Prison for the Heretics, the Abyss. It's a very strict Abyss. And maybe she is the representative of the Inquisition in the Grimghast Dominion. Who else are we going to have? We are going to have 1. And that's the Paranoid Nobleman. That has to be, I suppose, in the Citadel. It's the Paranoid. So now we know he's paranoid. Shifting loyalties. So maybe there is a lot of conflict inside the family. I will say that that's the case. So the Citadel. And then who are we going to have? We're not going to have 1 again. So I think I'm just going to do a straight 1 to 3 as the mercenary captain, or 4 to 6 is the Council of Guilds. So we do have the guilds. So they're probably going to be in the town. So the guilds. However, we do know that the town is does have mercenaries in it. So maybe there is going to be a mercenary captain, but he is not of a significant stature to maybe be in charge. It's going to be these guilds running the show, but maybe the mercenary captain is an important player in their power dynamic. So he is, I'll just put secondary just now in that, and the guilds are going to be in the town. So that's that done. We're almost there. I can see my time is ticking away, and I keep on shattering all these time things, but that is just the nature of the beast. I'm just going to keep on bashing on. The hidden threat, what stirs beneath the surface. So this is just the general, almost the existential threat to this region. It's your classic necromancer type thing, gathering forces of evil. And to be honest, I just do not care at this stage. Bring it on. Let's find out what the hidden threat is. We do have the necromancer gathering strength. My goodness, what a place. So we've got the necromancer gathering strength. It could have been a forgotten god remembered in secret. That could have been quite nasty with the gods, and his cult. Maybe that is one of these cosmic terrors. A noble bloodline tainted by monstrosity. Well, that would probably beef up the paranoid nobleman in the Citadel. The fact that there's some form of terrible monstrosity in their bloodline. Or an ancient curse spreading once more. Again, that could be no trifling matter. That would have a bit of a, that's a bit more enigmatic. But this does seem to be a bit of a focus, a necromancer gathering strength. What is the necromancer all about? We have to have a necromancer in everything. I've got a necromancer in my homes one, but I've now got one in my basic fantasy, yes. Right, the adventurer's place. This is the final one. Why do outsiders come here? So this is maybe just a bit of an override on the adventurers' criteria of how they're viewed in this world. We're going to have just one of the reasons why the adventurers would want to come here, specifically into the Grimghast Dominion. And we got a 2. So endless mercenary work in petty wars. Okay, well that's supposed to make sense. Maybe they are swords for hire, and that's kind of brought them to it. Mercenary work, and the associated things for the other classes, maybe on the clerical side we think, or we could get maybe an angle on the healing, or maybe like war chaplains or that type of stuff. On the magic user side, maybe the sort of battle magic required, or I'm kind of clutching at straws. And on the thieves side, maybe some sort of black ops behind enemy lines operations, that sort of thing. Right, so that as I've finished the detailed checklist, you will say thank you very much, Brian. You go away and beaver away and make that look nice, and that's what I'm going to do. And also, as a final thing, we're having performed this exercise, we're going to randomly name each of the settlements and then draw up the information on a hand-drawn map. Yes. So, but let's just finish off with a couple of things. We're going to randomly name some of these settlements. So what settlements have we got? We've got the ruined castle. Are we going? I think I will kind of call that the Grimghast, because that is what it is. It's the Grimghast tower or citadel, something like that. Citadel of the Grimgast. That is, I'll come to a good conclusion on that. The main town, we're just going to get our d20 and do a prefix, and we're going to roll for a suffix. So let's find out what we get. So we get a 6, which is cold, and suffix is 11. Halt. Cold halt. Well, yeah, it is what it is. Cold hold. Maybe we could do it to change it to hold. Yeah, cold hold. Oh no, that sounds a bit silly. Right. Maybe best. Let's do best of two. Best of two. We've got a 5. We've got bracken. Bracken. The suffix 4. Cross. Bracken cross. Yeah, I think I prefer that one. Cold halt or bracken cross. Let's have it as 2 options, and I will decide. And we have village 1. We're going to have 8, which is done. That sounds good. Done, like done. Done what? Done 14. Dunmere. Yep, absolutely spot on. The ruined foundations, Dunmere. We've got 7, which is Crow. Crow. Surrounded by forest. Crow. Stone the Crow. Crow 10. Crowhaven. Yep, absolutely spot on. These are much better. I have to pinch some of these for my town. Crowhaven. And then 20. Wraith for Arthur. Yeah, absolutely. Built on stilts over. Maybe we swap that with something. Wraith. Wraith something. Wraith 7. Wraith Field. Okay. Yeah, well maybe. Yeah, why not? Wraith Field. And I'm not going to do the tower that keep in the manor house. I think that's quite enough. Just to name the town, which I'm maybe not too happy with. I might revisit that at the start of the next episode. But certainly, I think on the villages, I think I'm reasonably satisfied. What else have we got to do just before we come to a conclusion? As I said, I'll go away and draw up this hand-drawn map. I'm going to try and make it as atmospheric as possible and use my best calligraphy, probably in a monochrome format, because I think everything's going to be in very black and white in this world. And we're going to assign where the characters will commence their adventuring, and they will start in the town on a 1 to 3 or one of the villages on a 4 to 6. So let's get our D6 out and find out where they are going to start. We are going to get them started in the town. So start, town, start. So that's probably quite a good thing for the adventurers. And that is exactly what we're going to do in the next episode. We're going to go in, forge our group of characters. I am going to roll up 1 character, and I'm going to randomly select 3 more, and we're going to have a party of 4. We're going to outfit them. We're going to get them primed and ready. I do have some little tweaks that I am going to do, which I always do to my characters, just to make them quite unique. And I have this concept of what I call aspects, which are basically general archetypes attuned to a gothic world, dark fantasy world that we have. So hopefully that is going to be of interest to you. I do apologize, I've gone on for quite some time, but I really wanted to get to the end of this. That's going to be all the design done. We're just going to be doing the basic fantasy stuff. Next we're going to be doing characters, and then we're going to be get straight into the adventuring and finding out exactly what makes this game tick and why it's going to be good as a solo campaign. Okay, well, thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you next time.